the Jet Setting Wealth Advisory Podcast, where your financial journey takes flight with David T.U. As an airline pilot and financial expert, David merges the aviation industry and wealth management to help you navigate today's complex financial skies. Each episode features expert insight, blending personal stories with essential financial strategies. We ask that you fasten your seatbelts and sit back as we prepare for takeoff. Our destination, your financial empowerment.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Jet Setting Wealth Advisory, where we spotlight financial leaders and innovators helping clients reach new altitude in wealth and life. I'm David Yu, active airline pilot, wealth advisor, and the host of the show. Each week, we explore strategies to help professionals like you chart a clear course towards financial freedom and long-term success. Today's guest is Wendy Barlin, a CPA business strategist, speaker, and author who has spent her career helping entrepreneurs and professionals keep more of their hard-earned money through smart tax strategies and cash management planning. Wendy is a former founder of About Profit, a highly successful remote accounting and tax firm where she had grown 50% probability, correction, and action. Wendy is the former founder of About Profit, a highly successful remote accounting and tax firm that she grew to 50% profitability, all while working less than 40 hours a week. And selling that business in 2021, she now dedicates her time to coaching other professional service firms who are owners and how this can help reduce their stress, optimize operations, and build businesses that support their personal goals, or even prepare for a profitable liquidity and sales event. Get ready for a powerful conversation on wealth, business strategies, and designing a life that works for you, not the other way around. So welcome, Wendy, to the show.
Thank you. You make it sound so easy. Let's just do that.
Yeah. Well, isn't it just that easy? A snap of a finger? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. So your story is really quite amazing. You moved to the U.S. in 1997 with almost nothing.
Can you take us back to that dirty clothes.
And can you take us back to that time and share what inspired your journey?
Yes. So I grew up in South Africa, and we grew up watching Beverly Hills 90210. I'm dating myself, but
okay, I did too. I'll date myself as well.
Right, American television, and I used to say, one day I'm going to America. I'm going. And everyone will laugh at me and they go, yeah, of course you are. But it was my dream to come here. And so I got my education in South Africa. I got my chartered accountancy license. And then my parents said to me, go, you're young, go explore the world. And now that I have children, teenagers, I actually cannot believe that my parents let me do that, because I don't even let my kids walk to the end of the block. They're so irresponsible. But off I went in my early 20s with a bag of dirty clothes, and I backpacked around the world, and Los Angeles was one of the places that I landed. And I just believe in the American dream. You know,
awesome.
I came with nothing. I was able to find a job. I was able to find a roommate, and I've just learned how to use the American money, financial, and tax system. And I do believe in the American dream. I don't suffer whiners.
Okay, fantastic. So you eventually launched and sold a thriving remote accounting firm. What were some of the biggest lessons that you learned as a founder, and also be able to shape now the people that you coach?
So I think running your own business is a dream for many people. For me, it was too. I remember the day I quit my job and said, I'm going to do this. And I had a handful of tax clients and a mortgage to pay. And it was very scary. And there are days, I think my message to anybody who is in a position to dream about owning their own business or leaving their current job to do this full time, there are going to be days where you really just want your job back. There are going to be days where you say to yourself, what am I doing? But then there are other days that are great when clients say thank you, when you celebrate your success, successes, it makes it all worthwhile. But it is not a rosy path, right? There are great days and there are frustrating days, like anything else.
Absolutely.
Um,
I can
and when
definitely vouch for
COVID
that.
hit, right, and when COVID hit, my firm was kind of ahead of the curve in terms of being completely remote and nationwide. So it was a good time for me to sell. And there are pieces of it that I missed. I missed my client relationships. That probably is the one piece that, as any service provider will tell you, you get very close with your clients. And I miss that
Sure.
long-term relationship.
Sure. Of course. Of course. So let's talk about pardon me, and action. Okay. Very good. So let's talk about the next question, which is describe yourself. You describe yourself not just as an accountant, but as a
Right.
business strategist and financial confidant. How does that role?
Yeah.
What does that role, and how does that mean to you, and how does that affect the people that you mentor and consult?
Right. So in today's world, I think the role of accountants are changing. We hear everywhere about AI and we're going to be replaced by AI. I mean, we're really
Sure.
not going to be replaced by AI. There's some things computers could do, but there are other things that absolutely take humans. But
Sure.
my opinion and my belief is that you've kind of learned the ropes in any career. The smart thing to do is to advise people. So yes, me and my team and any accounting firm can do bookkeeping. They can do financial statements. They can do tax returns, put the numbers in the boxes in the computer. But the real value that my and your years of experience bring
Sure.
are what we've seen and how we can take the numbers and look at them from years of experience and go, I know what this means for you. Or, oh, I've seen numbers like this before, and this is where you're likely to go. This is a good place to be. Make some changes here. So it's really, when I say confidant and advisor, I really mean someone who's looking just beyond the numbers. And for anybody out there that's looking for a tax advisor or an accounting preparer, really look for someone who's going beyond the data capture, because that really should be done by technology. And it's the perception, the interpretation of those numbers that makes us as advisors valuable.
Fantastic. So let's talk about tax strategy and financial clarity. For high income individuals and business owners, what are some of the ways to best prepare for tax season so it's not a mad scramble in
Yeah.
April, or in fact in October later in the year?
So I know everybody's waiting for that magic bullet where I'm going to come up with some great, fantastic, quick, easy, like a pill you can take. No such thing, unfortunately. And you know what my answer is, David? My answer is record keeping. And I know our listeners are groaning right now because they're like, oh, that's the last thing we want to do.
Sure.
But record keeping, record keeping, record keeping. I can't tell you often enough how many people, like you say, in March and April are scrambling looking for documentation. You're talking about documentation from 16 months prior. That
Sure.
makes no sense. So we are now in November 2025. It's not too late to start putting together all your 2025 information. Go back to January and look in your checkbook and your credit card statement. Did you make donations? Start putting that
Sure.
list together now. What did you pay for medical expenses? Start putting that list together now. That way, come February, March, or April, you have a nice clean list. And there is no tax preparer in the world who's a magician. None that I know of anyway.
Nope,
But
nobody.
what they need, what we need in order to do our job and to do it for you and save you money is your records. That means lists of income and expense items. It also means receipts. Anything over $25 in expense, you need a receipt for under tax law. Now, it doesn't have to be a piece of paper, so you don't need to come with your box of alphabetized paper. It could be a JPEG or a PDF or photograph you've taken, but you do need to have receipts. And it's not too late to go back and start looking for your receipts.
Okay.
Now, that being said, there is no receipt jail. So if you don't have your receipts, I'm not saying don't take your deductions. I'm just saying that, heaven forbid, in the case of an audit, if you are unable to prove your receipts, you may lose your deduction. But from today onwards, everybody's going to keep the receipts for us.
Understood. All right. So do you help your clients do the bookkeeping? Is that part of your service?
Yes. So we keep track of the day-to-day income and expenses. We use several different systems. We're system agnostic, but the most important thing is helping people keep track of every single dollar, because sometimes in those dollars, there's a tax deduction hiding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you help people find more tax deductions. What are the few overlooked deductions or strategies that you wish more people took advantage of? Give us some
Ooh,
examples.
that's a good one. Wow. How long do we have? Should I start at A? I think too often people don't go for these, what I would call maybe a little softer deductions like charitable contributions, because they're not keeping track of it. They're not keeping track of the Girl Scout cookies they buy or the $10 they put in the cup at church. They're not thinking of all the times that they're actually $10, $100. You don't only have to think of the big tens of thousands of dollars. If you put $100 a week away, that's $5,000 a year. That adds up. At your tax, I would say that's worth a cup of coffee, wouldn't you? So I
Sure.
always am looking for charitable contributions. I'm also looking for medical expenses. There are very often people say, oh, I make too much money. Oh, I don't have enough deductions. Do you though? How do you know until you actually add them up? So I
Sure.
tell my clients, let's not decide on January 1st that we're never going to have enough. Back of those numbers so that your tax advisor can look at everything
Sure.
and give you advice. Okay, so maybe you kept track of things you can't deduct. I still think there's value in tracking your dollars, even if you don't deduct them. I like to know what I spend on health insurance or gas or any of the other things that I track in my business.
Starbucks and yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Or people will say to me, oh, I think I need to get an electric car because gas is so expensive. And
Sure.
I'll say to them, interesting, what do you spend on gas? I don't know.
Wow.
Then how do you know it's expensive relative to what?
Sure.
Exactly, right? It's the same with meals. I spend so much on groceries. Do you? Inflation, it's terrible. Okay, what do you spend on groceries? I don't know. I even had a wake up moment a few months ago where I looked at my grocery total and how they have grown over the years. It really was quite frightening.
Especially the last couple of years.
Exactly what they spend on groceries, you need to go find out. It's really interesting to see where your money goes, even if it's not a tax deduction. I think just as a sense of control
Sure.
and a sense of masters of our own destiny, not from a point of view of budgeting, because that's very negative and closed-minded. I'm all about abundance. But I do think it's important to know where your money goes.
Understood. So we hear a lot around whether someone needs a CPA or an enrolled agent.
Right.
Can you break down the difference and help people choose the right profession to help them
Right.
on this
Yes.
end?
Yes. That's such an interesting question. I just had that similar question this morning.
Oh,
And
good.
the CPA license is very long, arduous process to get. So you go to school, then you take a test, then you have to do a certain number of hours, you got to get approved, and you got to go to the board, and it's a big deal. And very proud of my license. We are, with that license, entitled to sign audited financial statements, to sign reviewed financial statements. But anybody can really sign a tax return. Anybody can give tax advice. You do not need a CPA license to give tax advice or to sign a tax return. So for many people who really just need tax advice without financial or auditing or any other piece of advice, an enrolled agent is a very well-respected credential. And I've actually seen that exam. And that test to get your enrolled agent's license is very, very difficult. If you think about it, the CPA test is broken into parts: accounting, law, tax, and audit. The enrolled agent license is all tax, all day. So I really like enrolled agents when you have a specific tax need. Sometimes a little cheaper because enrolled agents don't have the licensing requirements that CPAs have with the very heavy education and insurance we have to carry. So generally speaking, enrolled agents can be a little less expensive, but highly recommended for a tax specific need.
I see. Excellent. So you work with other firm owners who want less stress and more profit, don't we all?
Don't we all? Exactly. And I think that's because
What's the secret sauce, or what are some of the most common mistakes that you see, and how professionals or business owners can structure their firm to make more of this happen?
Right. I think unfortunately it comes back to the same solution of record keeping, David, because I see so many business owners focused on that revenue line, right? Chasing revenue. I'm $1 million business. Oh, I'm a $5 million business. Oh, I'm a $10 million business. And at the end of the day, I see people making in revenue that keep more of their hard-earned money than $10 million businesses do, because they're not focused on managing their expenses and tracking their numbers. They're so focused on selling. And so, yes, you must have revenue, right? Without revenue, we have nothing. You must have revenue. But for every moment that you focus on growing your revenue and growing your business, I'd like you to focus on your record keeping too. And it doesn't plural you, hire a bookkeeper, hire an accountant to do it for you, because think how hard you work to get to that $1 million mark. And then it just gets frittered away in taxes because you don't have good records to find more deductions. And with that is your profitability. They go hand in hand. Record keeping, profitability, and taxes.
Absolutely. 100% agree on that. Many listeners of the show are high achievers who are overworked and want more freedom. How can better business systems help make this happen? And how can you help make this happen?
Yeah, I think it's important to hire for the pieces in your life you don't have. So, for example, if you are a busy pilot or accountant or whatever your profession is, I think it's really important to look at, what do I need? Well, I need someone watching my financial investments. I need someone keeping track of my income and expenses. I need someone doing tax planning for me. I need someone cleaning my house. And it's important to hire the right people for the right roles. Interview people, look for referrals in your network. I think the best advice I can give any high earning professional is to hire the pieces that are not your best served purpose every day. And don't forget about it. Don't sweep it under the rug. Spend the money and hire professionals to pick up the pieces.
Okay. Fantastic.
Build a team.
Yes, building a team. I love that. You built and sold a firm. Had a liquidity event. For those dreaming of an exit one day, what should they be doing now to prepare for a profitable exit or a profitable sale?
Right. Very important to have consistent revenue. So buyers on any business are looking for consistent revenue. 2, 3, 5 or more years where your revenue is pretty stable. I was just looking at a business last week that's looking to sell, and they asked for my opinion. And I looked at it and I said, I don't think I'd buy this. It went up, and then they lost some clients, and it went down. Oh, and there it went up again. And it was real choppy. It didn't give me a good feel in my gut that this was going to be a stable stream of income. So we're looking for stable income. The other thing that buyers are always looking for is, what happens if you're not here anymore? What if you get hit by the proverbial bus? Do you have a team of people who run the operations that will continue with the business? Or do you have procedures and processes in place and documented so it's a plug and play? If David's not here, it doesn't matter. Here's his job. You can do it. If Wendy's not here, no problem. Here's her job with videos and notes. You can do it. So buyers are also looking for, who's going to do the work? They're looking for profitability. cash flow, and a business that has been around for a while. So I think it's important to start today. I will say too many people wake up and go, I want to sell. I want to sell now. That's generally not the way it works, unless you have something super special that everybody wants. Most likely, it's a 3 to 5 year plan is what I recommend, is that you start today with an eye on 3 to 5 years to sell,
Okay.
so that you have a runway to get all your pieces in place, to get the biggest bang for your buck. I mean, you can sell today, but you're not going to get the biggest bang for your buck. So take your time and put the pieces in place so that you get the biggest value you can when that day comes.
And when someone comes to you, as an example that you just talked about, that they're looking for a liquidity event, and let's say it does come to fruition. There's
Yeah.
a sales contract, the meeting of the minds on a purchase, and all the different variables that has been agreed, and it's finally on paper. Does anybody, has anybody that you've worked with have asked you, okay, so what is my tax obligation and how do you help me mitigate some of the taxes?
Right. And that's often a very big piece of it. So I
Absolutely.
will usually bring in an attorney, a tax lawyer, someone to structure the deal in a way that is in somebody's best interest. I really like the idea of using lawyers, not a lawyer who's going to redline the agreement, but a lawyer who's going to put the strategy and the calls in place to move the money around and get you as much after tax cash as possible. So I'll usually pull in a tax lawyer.
Okay, so tax lawyers, perhaps they have be able to provide additional value add by the structure or other
Correct.
methods, strategies to help mitigate the taxes.
Correct.
Is there a type of lawyer that are, besides being a tax lawyer, are there other lawyers that you can utilize or help to mitigate these type of
Sure. They
tax
are,
events?
they're definitely negotiators and merger and acquisition people,
Mhm. Sure,
people that have a lot of corporate law experience.
sure.
Sometimes, if it's a little bit of a risky business, I might even bring in someone who's a litigator, someone who's gone to court and, oh, what if something goes wrong? I'm buying this business. What if? And what kind of things have you seen that we should prepare for? Those are also people to ask associated with any particular deal.
Okay. Let's talk about your personal philosophy and perhaps what your plans are next. You've built a life and
Yep.
career on your terms. What does success mean to you today, and how do you help others define it for themselves?
I love that. I think I certainly can say that I spent many years chasing the almighty dollar, considering that I came here with nothing and I wanted to have money in the bank. I just wanted to feel safe. And now I sit here all these years later, and I don't think there's such a thing. I don't think there's this happy place that you get to and you go, I'm here, I've arrived, I'm good. I think life is changing and pivots and we turn. And so today, as I sit here today, success means being able to decide what I do with my day. So I love my work. I love that I help people. I still love accounting and taxes. And I am never going to stop working. Somebody the other day said to me, well, are you going to retire? I said, what is that? Who does that? We don't do that. When you love what you do, you can speak to
Sure.
this, right? When we love what we do, we don't retire. And for me, I'm always telling my fellow business owners and colleagues that I think when you come to a place that success means I get to start my day the way I want to start my day, and I'm not in the rat race getting on a train at 6 a.m. to punch a clock, that to me feels like success. But for everybody, that's something different. And I think it's important to take that long, hard look in the mirror. Vision board is I'm a big fan of vision boarding and know what you want from your life.
For those viewers and listeners that are on this, can you just give a brief description of what this vision board is?
So I don't even remember when it was, many, many, many years ago. I read a book or listened to a podcast, took a vision of what they wanted their future to be, and they put it in front of them visually, pictured in front of them of what they wanted it to be. And they hung it in the office. So they were looking at it all day, every day. And over time, these visions came to fruition. And
Wow.
I've personally
Beautiful.
seen that. I'm sitting in my office today. This office, how it looks with the bookshelves, was on my vision board 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was living in California, and I had on my vision board a picture of what my home office was going to look like. And back then I was driving to an office every day. And my husband and I were on vacation in Florida. And I said, oh, let's just go check out this neighborhood. It looks so cool. Let's get a realtor. Let's see what money buys. And we walked into this house, and I said to my husband, oh my goodness, office looks like the office I've had on my vision board for all these years. We have to buy this house. We live in California. We are here on vacation. What are you talking about? And I said to him, I'm telling you, it's all going to work out. I have to have this house. And so I'm a big believer in, what you put in front of you. I have a client who's a lawyer, and she used to hang behind her door the net profit number she wanted to see in her bank account. And she put it in big numbers behind the door. So she was always looking at it every day. It took 3 years, and she had that amount of money in her bank account. So I'm a big believer in, you got to see it, you got to believe it in order to make it happen. I'm very woo-woo for an accountant. My husband says it's like living with Tony Robbins, but I can't help myself.
So besides being inspirational, you're a mom, a reader, a traveler. How do you balance your work with the rest of your life?
Oh, that is the hardest part. I wish I had a magic formula to share for that.
Okay.
It is a daily, and I mean daily struggle. And I have to really pay attention to my day. What am I going to do today? What are my priorities today?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, unfortunately, my 9-year-old is disappointed because I can't make it to a birthday party. I can't make it to school today. And
Sure.
sometimes the client is disappointed because I'm at school or
Sure.
I'm at my son's basketball event. So it is an ongoing balance. I think it's about looking in the mirror and saying, what are my priorities? What are my priorities today? And just doing the best we can every single day. I think anybody that says they've got it all figured out, I'm not sure I really trust that. I've tried a lot of different things, and I think ultimately every day is a challenge. But we're up for the challenge.
Yep, absolutely. We deal with that every single day, sometimes hourly.
Yes, exactly. Exactly right. When you have teenagers, you learn it is hourly.
So what's next for you? Any upcoming projects, books, or events that you would like to share with us and we should look out for?
Great question. Thank you so much. Yes,
Sure.
I'm actually moving more into the area of doing more. I don't like to use the word life coaching because I think it's been so overused, but helping people who are at pivot points in their lives and they're stuck. So
Okay.
just naturally, I'm having people reach out to me and say, I'm sick of my career, unfulfilled in my career. What should I do next? Or I'm looking for a job and I can't find one. What should I do? And so I find myself doing monthly vision boarding exercises,
Okay.
monthly webinars, and a lot of one-on-one calls with people. It's related to money though, isn't it? At the end
Sure.
of the day, people come to me with that question, what should I do next? And we end up having money conversations and tax conversations because that's a lot of what keeps people stuck is they don't know what they can afford. They don't know how much money they need. They don't know where they can live. So it all kind of comes back to my experience in the dollars in a sense and being able to have that money conversation in a very calm, non-judgmental manner because I've been penniless. I've had nothing but a bag of dirty clothes. I've been divorced. I've lost money in the stock market. I know how those things feel. And so I'm relating my experiences and not dictating how anything should be. I don't like the word should.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us, some of your personal challenges. If someone was listening, if the people that are listening today and want to keep more of their money that they have earned, hard-earned money, and reduce their financial stress, what's the first step that you believe that they should take?
Record keeping. I don't care if you make $100 or $100 million. Keep track of every dollar you spend for clarity so that you can create an awareness of how much money you make and how much money you spend. Because without that awareness, that self-awareness, there's nothing I or you, David, or anybody else can do to help.
Fantastic. And where can our listeners connect with you or learn more about your coaching and contents?
Sure. So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm an avid LinkedIn user. You
Right.
could find me at wendybarlin.com. I am all over the internet. You are welcome to reach out in whatever manner you like. I do respond to every single email I get.
And any final words to our listeners and our viewers?
I feel as though we're in a time where everybody just needs to take a breath. Just take a breath, because this is right now, and we have the chance to make changes. And all that we can really control is ourselves and our choices.
Fantastic. Well, that wraps up today's episode of Jet Setting Wealth Advisory. A heartfelt thank you to you, Wendy Barlin, for sharing your inspirational journey from building and selling a thriving firm to helping others create businesses that truly support their lives. If you'd like to learn more about Wendy's work, coaching programs, or financial insight, please again visit wendybarlin.com. And for those of you that are viewing this, it will be on your screen. And for those of you that are listening to this, it will be in the show notes. We'll include all the links in, again, the show notes for today's podcast. I'm David Yu, active airline pilot and wealth advisor. Be sure to subscribe to Jet Setting Wealth Advisory for more conversation with top professionals shaping the future of finance. Until next time, keep your goals high, your plans steady, and your financial future on course. See you next time, and thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for flying with us on today's episode of Jet Setting Wealth Advisory. If you enjoyed your journey through the fiscal skies with David T. Yu, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and keep your financial knowledge soaring. For more insights and personalized advice, visit us at www.dtywealthplanningsolutions.com and connect with David directly